haven't seen one single tool that works better for burning fat than eating more protein. And although eating protein on its own has crazy fat loss benefits, there are actually a few things you can do to double down on those results and see results even faster. So today I'm sharing 10 ways that you can burn fat even faster with your high protein diet. Let's dive into it. My name's Autumn. I'm a certified clinical nutritionist with my master's nutrition human performance, and today's video is sponsored by Thrive Market. More on them in a bit. Okay, the first is to use mostly whole food proteins. Think of things like eggs, Greek yogurt, meat, ground beef, salmon, chicken, turkey. One of the main reasons that a high protein diet actually works for fat loss is because it is so dang satiating, which means you're satisfied and you're not hungry. And whole food proteins actually raise those hormones that make you feel full and satisfied better than other more processed proteins. And the areas that you'll often find the most processed proteins are going to be things like protein bars or those ready to drink meal replacement drinks, protein cookies, protein chips, protein crackers, protein cereals. These are not as satiating as the whole proteins, and therefore you will not get the same benefit as eating the whole proteins from a fat loss perspective. Plus, those more processed protein products tend to be really easy to actually eat a lot more of than you intended, which could actually reverse your results. Okay, the second is to eat high fiber foods at every meal when possible. Fiber also raises the satiety hormone GLP-1, which is the same hormone that people are targeting when they use something like Ozempic. It also helps to feed the good gut bacteria that promotes gut health, and it's really blood sugar stabilizing, which can help prevent sugar cravings, again, making your fat loss journey so much easier. So high fiber foods include things like raspberries, artichokes, avocado, lentils, and cacao nibs. And of course, my all-time favorite, chia seeds. Okay, the third is to not overdo it on the fat. Now, I say this with a grain of salt because fat is also needed to feel full and satisfied. It's just not as good at protein at getting the job done. We need to have it balanced. And more of the traditionally processed proteins, so not like the protein bars, but traditionally processed like salami or even various sausages, can have more fat than protein because that fat is added back in to either help preserve or for palatability. Now, occasionally having some of these is not problematic, but it's when we rely on these as our protein source every single day that can be an issue. And that's because the protein content is so much lower and you have to eat so much of the fat content in order to get the protein that you actually need. This is actually kind of the same, but in reverse with different proteins from plant-based sources. So like to exclusively get your protein from something like beans, you would have to eat a lot of beans and therefore a lot of carbohydrates in order to get enough protein. Okay, the fourth is to skip protein bars. I totally understand these are really easy to reach for in a pinch, and you might see that it has like 10 or 15 or 20 grams of protein and think that, oh, this must be a good option. But most of the proteins that are used in these various protein bars are very poor quality. They also tend to be paired with a lot of sugar. And they essentially are like a cleverly marketed candy bar that's really easy to overeat. So if you really do need something in a pinch, if you're traveling and you need to have something that you can just have in your pocket, the one that I always recommend is actually called Epic Bar. I just recently brought this with me on our trip to Maui, and it's a meat or chicken or fish based like bar that is so much more satiating and so much better for you than just a regular sugary protein bar. Which, speaking of, I actually buy my Epic bars in bulk because we use it so much, and my daughter Sage loves it so much, and we specifically get it with today's sponsor, Thrive Market. Thrive Market is a really awesome online membership-based grocery store, and they're on a mission to make healthy living as easy and accessible and affordable as possible. Plus, they're delivered directly to your door, which really helps me as a busy mom to save a lot of time. And you can save on every order on high-quality brands like the Epic bars on their website or on their app. I was actually like so surprisingly shocked to see just how much I could save on one of those big packages of Epic bars when I bought it through Thrive Market. And if you happen to find the price lower someplace else, Thrive Market will match the price, always guaranteeing the lowest price. And orders over $49 have free shipping. Especially as a new mom, or if you just want to try and make healthier swaps for your family, it can be really overwhelming, but Thrive Market makes it easy because they have the highest quality standards in the industry. You can shop Thrive Market's 100% non-GMO catalog with 1,000+ restricted ingredients from all of the products available on their site, all while saving money in the process. Many of the items that I buy and that I share, including the Epic bars, can actually be found on Thrive Market to make getting enough protein into your diet super easy. And right now you can join Thrive Market today to get 30% off your first order plus a free gift valued up to $60. So make sure you head over to thrivemarket.com/autumnbates for 30% off your first order. I'll also have it linked down in the description below so you don't miss out. Okay, the fifth thing you can do is to add protein powder to your meal. Now, I personally use protein powder daily. My husband uses it daily. A lot of my clients use it daily. It can actually be a really amazing tool when used the right way, because the issue that most people will do is that they'll just simply mix it with like almond milk, or they'll have protein protein powder within one of those like really processed meal replacement drinks that's loaded with sugar and processed oils, both of which is not actually going to be the most supportive from a fat loss perspective. Instead, what you want to do is actually have it with your meal. This helps ensure that you're combining the protein, the fat, and the fiber from additional whole food sources as well, so you can see maximum benefits. A classic example is adding a scoop or two of protein powder into a protein smoothie. The way I like to make it is using our zero added sugar protein powder, adding that along with Greek yogurt and either almond milk or kefir, some chia seeds, some fruit, blending that up so I get a good combination of the protein, the fat, and the fiber to actually be a true satiating meal replacement that's also nutrient dense and will provide the health benefits in addition to the body recomp and fat loss benefits, versus having something that might have the same macronutrient breakdown technically speaking, but from like those meal replacement drinks that are loaded with sugar and processed oils. I also make protein waffles with it by swapping out the flour for protein powder, which makes it have that like nice slight sweetness from the monk fruit, but still uses other whole food ingredients like eggs and banana and Greek yogurt. Oh, it's like so good. In fact, I specifically developed our protein powder to actually taste amazing in recipes because that is the only way that I recommend using it, because that's the best way to use it. Most other protein powders are so overpowering, they don't actually taste good in recipes, and they tend to be loaded with sugar. Ours has zero added sugar and only uses 100% monk fruit extract. Each bag also comes with 10 free recipes, so if you want to check out our delicious community love protein powder, I'll have it pop up right here somewhere, or I'll also have it linked down in the description below. Okay, number 6 is to add intermittent fasting. Eating more protein helps to prevent hunger and helps to keep your metabolism from tanking while losing weight. But if you also add intermittent fasting, you get additional perks to go along with that. A few examples being the gut health perks, as well as an easier time switching into a state of fat burning, which is called metabolic flexibility. I have so many videos on how to get started with intermittent fasting, literally like probably 500 at this point. But I'll put one that I think is a great place to start right here if you want to pair intermittent fasting with eating more protein. Okay, number 7 is to just measure your protein in the beginning. I'm not an advocate for like tracking and weighing. I find it to be really unnecessary when you're eating the right types of foods, and it can actually be very counterproductive. However, most people think that they're eating a lot more protein than they really are, and I found that simply by weighing the different protein sources like chicken or fish or meat, or even actually measuring out Greek yogurt and skyr, can help to give you a mental visual of how much you should be eating, so then you can always eyeball it from there. That way you're actually truly hitting your protein needs, because you're not going to get the benefits of eating more protein if you don't eat more protein. And you can just use a standard kitchen scale for that. I also have a really great video to show you this visual breakdown. I'll have it linked right up here. Okay, number 9 is to avoid high glycemic carbs, at least during the fat loss portion. High glycemic carbs are those that cause a big blood sugar spike and crash, and it's this crash that can trigger people to overeat and not trigger the satiety hormones, which really is the opposite of what eating more protein does. So the high glycemic carbs would be things like pasta and bread, white rice, pastries, added sugars. I have a blog post with a full list of these foods if you want to check it out. That will also be linked down in the description below. Okay, number 10 is to drink enough water and electrolytes. When we eat more protein, it can cause our body to lose more water as well as electrolytes. And for some people that can cause constipation, which that alone would make somebody want to give up because that is uncomfortable. So drinking enough water as well as getting adequate electrolytes can help to make sure that you can avoid this issue of constipation. A good rule of thumb is to aim for about half your body weight in ounces. So if you weigh like 150 pounds, and you want to aim for roughly 75 ounces of water. And then of course adding electrolytes from there. My favorite is Element. Now a lot of things I use, like those Epic bars, can actually be found on Thrive Market and delivered directly to your door. So if you want to get that discount for 30% off your first order plus a free gift valued up to $60, make sure you head over to thrivemarket.com/autumnbates, or you can click the link in the description box down below so you don't miss out on that massive discount. Now I mentioned my absolutely delicious protein waffles earlier, and it was such a big part of me achieving my 20-pound postpartum weight loss journey that you guys absolutely need to try it. They're so good. I'll have the recipe right here if you want to check it out. Also, if you're new to my channel and you love this science-backed information, make sure you subscribe right here. Come out new videos every Tuesday and Thursday. All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in my next video.